Hello, welcome to another video from the Animal University channel. Let's go for the video. Kangaroo. Kangaroo, any of 6 large species of Australian marsupials noted for hopping and bouncing on their hind legs. The term kangaroo, most specifically used, refers to the eastern grey kangaroo, the western grey kangaroo, and the red kangaroo, as well as to the antilopine kangaroo and 2 species of wallaroo, see below. Less specifically, kangaroo refers to all 14 species in the genus Macropus, some of which are called wallabies. In its broadest usage, kangaroo refers to any member of the family Macropodidae, which comprises about 65 species, including tree kangaroos, and the quokka, rat kangaroos are classified into sister families, Podoroideae and Hypsiprimnodontidae. The Macropodidae are found in Australia, including Tasmania and other offshore islands, such as Kangaroo Island, New Guinea, and the islands east to the Bismarck Archipelago. Several species have been introduced into New Zealand. Form and function. Common features. With the exception of tree kangaroos, genus Dendrologus, all members of the kangaroo family, Macropodidae, rely on long, powerful hind legs and feet for hopping and leaping, their predominant forms of locomotion. Their long tails, thickened at the base, are used for balancing. This feature is most obvious in the large kangaroos, which use the tail as a third leg when standing still. Each long, narrow hind foot has 4 toes, the large 4th toe bearing most of the animal's weight. The second and third toes are united and merely vestigial, a condition known as syndactyly. The short forelimbs, having 5 unequal digits, are used almost like human arms, but all digits of the hand are sharp-clawed, and the thumb is not opposable. The head is relatively small, the ears are, in most macropodids, large and rounded, and the mouth is small, with prominent lips. The pelage is generally soft and woolly, in many species it is grizzled, and stripes may be present on the head, back, or upper limbs. All macropodids are herbivorous and have a chambered stomach that is functionally similar to those of such ruminants as cattle and sheep. Ecologically, they occupy the niche filled elsewhere by grazing and browsing animals. Larger species tend to be grazers, smaller ones browsers. Several smaller species have become extinct or are gravely endangered, probably because of predation by introduced foxes. The wedge-tailed eagle, Aquila audax, is one of the macropodids' few natural predators. Reproduction and development. In all species, the marsupium, or pouch, is well developed, opens forward, and contains 4 teats. The young kangaroo, joey, is born at a very immature stage, when it is only about 2 centimeters, 1 inch long and weighs less than a gram, 0.04 ounce. Immediately after birth, it uses its already clawed and well-developed forelimbs to crawl up the mother's body and enter the pouch. The joey attaches its mouth to a teat, which then enlarges and holds the young animal in place. After continuous attachment for several weeks, the joey becomes more active and gradually spends more and more time outside the pouch, which it leaves completely at 7 to 10 months of age. Female macropodids of many species enter into heat within a few days after giving birth, mating and conception thus occurring while the previous offspring is still in the pouch. After only 1 week's development, the microscopic embryo enters a dormant state, called diapause, that lasts until the first joey begins to leave the pouch or until conditions are otherwise favorable. The development of the second embryo then resumes and proceeds to birth after a gestation period of about 30 days. Therefore, the teats are for a while feeding young of very different developmental stages, during which time different teats produce 2 different compositions of milk. This is thought to be an adaptation for recovering population numbers quickly after a drought, when breeding ceases and the diapause state is prolonged. In the grey kangaroos, which live in wooded country with a more predictable environment, this system does not exist. There is no diapause, and the pouch is occupied by 1 young at a time. Dentition. The larger species of kangaroos have complex, high-crowned teeth. The 4 permanent molars on each side of both jaws erupt in sequence from front to back and move forward in the jaw, eventually being pushed out at the front. Thus, an old kangaroo may have only the last 2 molars in place, the first 2, and the premolar having long since been shed. The molars possess cross-cutting ridges, so that tough grass is sheared between opposing teeth. The molars of smaller macropodids are much simpler. The large kangaroos continue growing throughout life, especially the males, most markedly in the red kangaroo, whereas the smaller macropodids do not. Behavior. Kangaroos have an irregular activity rhythm. Generally, they are active at night and during periods of low light, but it is quite possible to find them out in the open in bright sunlight. During hot weather, kangaroos lick their forearms, which promotes heat loss by evaporation. Kangaroos travel and feed in groups, mobs, whose composition shifts, but they are not truly social, since the individual members move at liberty. One member can send the mob into a wild rout, individuals bounding off in all directions, by thumping its tail on the ground in a signal of alarm. In any mob, the largest male, old man, or boomer, dominates during the mating season. Males fight for access to females by biting, kicking, and boxing. These methods are also used by kangaroos to defend themselves against predators. With their agile arms, they can spar vigorously. They can also use the forepaws to grip an enemy while rocking back on their tails and then swiftly dropping their huge clawed hind feet. This tactic has been known to disembowel dogs and humans. When chased by hunters with dogs, kangaroos often make for water, where they have been known to turn and press down on the dog with their forepaws in an attempt to drown it. Overall, however, kangaroos have benefited from human presence. Aboriginal hunters regularly burned large areas of forest and grassland, opening up the country for large grazers at the expense of smaller browsers. European pastoralists then cleared further tracts of dense vegetation and provided permanent sources of water in arid and seasonal habitats. By the late 20th century, the number of kangaroos in Australia had increased to the point that a major industry came to be based on them. The three most abundant species, the eastern grey, western grey, and red kangaroos, together number in the tens of millions. Every year millions of these three species, and thousands of medium-sized species such as whiptail wallabies, M. perrii, are harvested. Their skins are made into rugs and clothing, and their meat, formerly used as pet food, is now increasingly sold for human consumption. The kangaroo's status as a national symbol makes harvests politically controversial. Kangaroos are also killed because they compete for forage with livestock. Other threats are feral dogs introduced to the Australian mainland. See dingo. Descriptions of selected species. The eastern grey kangaroo, Macropus giganteus, is found mostly in the open forests of eastern Australia and Tasmania. It is replaced by the western grey kangaroo, M. effulaginosus, along the southern coast into the southwest of Western Australia. The ranges of the two species overlap in western New South Wales and western Victoria. Both species, but especially the eastern, prefer lightly forested country, at least for refuge, but they go out into the open plains for grazing. Western greys are stockier and more brownish. There are different subspecies in the southwest, on Kangaroo Island, and on the Nullarbor Plain. Each of these may in fact be distinct species. Eastern greys may grow up to 2.1 meters, 6.9 feet, in length, and some males can weigh as much as 90 kilograms, about 200 pounds. In contrast, western greys are shorter, with an average length of 1.6 meters, 5.25 feet, and some males can weigh up to 54 kilograms, about 120 pounds. Grey kangaroos can clear more than 9 meters, 30 feet, at a bound 13.5 meters has been recorded, and can attain a speed of 55 kilometers per hour, 34 miles per hour. Research has revealed a remarkable advantage to bipedal hopping. Although at low speeds kangaroos expend more energy than do quadrupeds of the same size, the red kangaroo, M. marufus, actually uses less energy at 10.1 kilometers per hour than at 6.5 and less still at higher speeds. This seems to be related to the storage of elastic strain energy in its tendons and muscles. In addition, the heavy tail swings downward as the legs are moving backward, which helps to counteract the natural pitching motion of the head and upper body, another energy-saving device. The red kangaroo is found throughout Australia's interior grasslands and is the largest and most powerful macropodid. An old male may attain a head and body length of 1.5 meters, 5 feet, have a tail 1 meter, 3.3 feet, long, and stand 2 meters, 6.6 feet, tall. Males can weigh 90 kilograms, 200 pounds, but females are much smaller. Usually males are red and females are blue-gray, but there are generally a few red females and gray males in most populations. In regions such as western New South Wales, where red kangaroos and both species of greys can be found in the same general area, the red kangaroo is easily distinguished by its longer arms, convex face, whitish underparts, prominent black and white whisker marks on the muzzle, and bald patch on the nose, rhinarium. Grey kangaroos are more uniformly colored, and the nose is haired. The antilopine kangaroo, M. antilopinus, sometimes called the antilopine wallaroo, replaces the red kangaroo in the plains of the tropical north, from Cape York Peninsula in the east to the Kimberleys in the west. It is smaller than the red kangaroo and more wallaroo-like in general appearance, although it is more slenderly built. Males can grow to be 1.8 meters, 5.9 feet, long and can weigh as much as 70 kilograms, 154 pounds, whereas females are smaller, often weighing less than 30 kilograms, 66 pounds. The antilopine kangaroo is an extremely fast hopper. The wallaroo, or Euro, M. robustus, is a smaller, stockier animal quite closely related to the red kangaroo and like it in that the sexes are colored differently, black in the male, reddish in the female, though this is not universal. The rhinarium is larger than in the red kangaroo. This wallaroo lives in hilly country throughout mainland Australia except in the far north, where it is replaced by the smaller woodwards, or black, wallaroo, M. bernardus. I hope you enjoyed this video enough and it was informative. Please like the video and subscribe the channel. Introduce us to your friends. Good luck to you all.